let's get right into it. The first thing you'll notice between these two photos is the difference in darkness. Especially in the shadows. The iPhone 11 Pro casting a lighter shot than the Pixel 3. This isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing, but more of a personal preference. I actually prefer darker, contrasty shots, not all the time, but that's kind of how I edit my photos. That's a subjective call. Now, the shadows on the iPhone 11 Pro aren't as pronounced as the Pixels, allowing you to see more in the background, like by this wall or what's inside this glass door. At 100% crop, you can see that the trade-off for that lighter shot is a little lost in its black levels, like the detail in this wood. When we crop to the center, the clarity of the iPhone 11 Pro is sharper than the Pixel 3's. It's not by a lot, but it's there. But it's also something you really can't see when you're zoomed out. When cropped into this small section of greenery, again, I see a clearer shot throughout the iPhone 11 Pro. It's definitely less muddled in detail compared to the Pixel 3, but its processing is a little overkill for me here. It's like they dialed up the sharpness 1 or 2 notches too high. At the end of the day, both of these shots came out great, and those fine details are things most people aren't going to notice when you're uploading to Instagram. For me personally, I prefer the Pixel 3 shot here. It has just a little more punch to it in its black levels. This is just one shot. Let's see how the rest plays out. The Pixel 3 in this shot delivers deeper blues in the sky. They're probably not as blue in real life, but they're probably not as light on the iPhone 11 Pro either. What I've noticed a lot on the iPhone 11 Pro is it tends to really push those shadows out, push that sharpness up, and can sometimes get to the point where it looks like it's washing out the tops of these trees. I much prefer these deeper greens on the Pixel 3, but at 100% crop, the iPhone 11 Pro again exhibits more clarity and less background noise. You know, that grainy look that photos can sometimes get. In this third set of shots, you get more of the same. Deeper blues and blacks on the Pixel 3, more detail in the shadows on the iPhone 11 Pro. Again, both perfectly usable and great shots. At 100% crop though, you can see how much more clarity the iPhone 11 Pro picks up. As a side note, these were also shot on a tripod, so there's no error for handshake here. That clarity also extends into other sections of this photo as well. Moving on. Now, I've noticed that some shots in direct sunlight can really mess with the iPhone 11 Pro. In this instance, you get a good amount of glare here as opposed to nothing on the Pixel 3. These next set of shots also prove to do similar. With this overhead shot of the beach, I actually prefer the warmer color temperature of the iPhone 11 Pro. The sand has a little more yellow-orange to it versus the Pixel 3's cooler, bluer tones, and when we crop to 100%, you can see that the detail in the background is a lot better on the iPhone than the Pixel. But you can also see what I mean about the iPhone 11 Pro's post-processing. The ocean looks so sharpened from the sunlight that hits the water. It looks jagged white. Again, I think the sharpness could be dialed back a notch or two. Now, when it comes to portrait shots, and sorry for the distance difference here, I forgot that the iPhone shoots much closer in portrait mode than the Pixel, but with the limited testing I've done, both do quite nicely in terms of color skin tone. Austin looks as he should, but when it comes to blurring out the background, neither are perfect. Still missing spots here and there, just something that I haven't seen perfectly replicated on what you see from a typical DSLR lens. But in indoor lighting is where it gets sketchy for the Pixel 3. The skin tone is just way too dark. It still might be a touch lighter than what I'd like on the iPhone 11 Pro, but I'd take that over the Pixel. The same goes for this next shot with Casper. It's just way too dark of a portrait shot on the Pixel 3. The iPhone 11 Pro does a really good job here with the shadows to show a better shape and contour on the facial features, while the Pixel 3 in a lot of ways looks like it's smoothed out the skin, lacking that realism from what you'd expect from a portrait shot. And when it comes to low light / night shots, this is where the iPhone 11 Pro shows its true upgrade from last year's model. Both shots here were taken without its night mode feature on, but the iPhone 11 Pro gets the white balance down, the inside of this nail salon isn't glowing like it is on the Pixel 3, the sign is much better exposed along with the neon signs below it. Overall, a well done realistic shot with less noise, less grain that you find on the Pixel 3. Now, here's a shot where I prefer the dark and contrasty blend of the Pixel 3 over the iPhone 11 Pro, but the thing that nags me here is the Pixel 3's overexposure of the lights in this display. When we crop to 100%, you can see how blown out it recreates this shot. You can't read the lettering as properly on the left since these lights are blowing out all over the top here. It's definitely still not a bad shot, but night shots are some of the toughest to take on smartphones, and it's something to take notice of as night mode becomes commonplace on flagship devices. Now, as we round out the last couple of shots here, do note that the rest were taken with night mode on. Again, the iPhone comes out with better white balance, it isn't as warm/yellow as the Pixel 3 leans, and look at the greenery here. This is almost neon green compared to the realistic color palette on the iPhone. To be fair, the Pixel 3 offers a tad more clarity in the specific shot. Take a look at the text on the top left here. It isn't by a lot, but it shows. Overall though, the iPhone 11 Pro nails the shot down with its better color accuracy, balanced exposure, and limited background noise versus the Pixel 3. In this alley shot, both came out really well, with slight differences in shadows and color temperature, but both process the shot by smoothing out the noise. You can really tell with the cacti here, and an edge of clarity on the Pixel 3. I do want to point out that another thing I've noticed is how well the iPhone manages to spread out bright lights like the street light. It's more of a glow than an unbalanced blur, which takes me to the next shot. Now, both of these were definitely having a hard time with this bright light. You can see that glare bouncing to the top, but more so on the Pixel 3 and in a very purple tint. Again, you'll notice the grass is bright green, unrealistic to what you'll find in real life. And as we get to this last shot, you'll see more of the same. That trademark neon green is now a thing for the Pixel 3, which honestly is a bit off-putting when compared to the iPhone 11 Pro because it just doesn't go overboard in saturation. When we crop to 100%, you'll notice that it also loses its detail, more like a matted bed of grass than anything else. The lights also show a bit more exposure than the 11 Pro. The iPhone 11 Pro is clearly the preferred shot in this set. When The Verge came out with an article for the iPhone 11 Pro and said, quote, "the best camera you can get on a phone," I'm not gonna lie, I rolled my eyes. I even took the time to go to Twitter and reply with, "we'll see." But after comparing for myself, it's hard to argue that. The iPhone 11 Pro stepped up its camera game as opposed to last year's disappointment with the XS, with its camera hardware still being quite similar to the 10. The Pixel 3 has been touted the king of the camera phone for nearly a year, and rightfully so in a lot of respects. And against the iPhone 11 Pro, I still feel like it holds its own in some respects, but you can't deny the clarity that the 11 Pro is delivering. Despite some of its aggressive sharpening and sometimes over-pushing shadows and shots, it will get the shot right more so than not. If there's one thing I can call it a king of, it's night shots. When the Pixel 3 released Night Sight last year, which is iPhone's night mode, I was blown away by how well it worked and how it changed the game for night photography. And it has, and it shows, but Apple's come in and taken a lot of that and polished it. With October just around the corner, the Pixel 4 is only weeks away. The real question is, how long can the iPhone 11 Pro stay number one as a camera phone? Can the Pixel 4 take that crown back? And when will I post another video? Next week. Probably next week. I just wanted to take a quick second and thank Dominic, Dwayne, Miguel, Tony, and Sean for your continued support on Patreon, with some of you who have stuck by me even after being gone for so long. I'll make sure your support helps continue to keep this channel going. Also, for everyone else, your love and support on YouTube means the world to me. I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram for daily posts, Twitter to hear me babble, and Patreon if you want more in-depth coverage of what's going on with me and my channel, and you want to support what I do.